Welcome back to the news, everyone. Today, the Grand Theft Auto situation does indeed continue. Oh, those poor bastards at Grove Street Games. I think they were dealt a very tough hand indeed. So, Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, is back on the PC. It took 3 entire days for it to return to PC. Of course, the Rockstar launcher went down for emergency maintenance shortly after the launch. It was pulled from sale on Rockstar's store. This, of course, not only locked out paying players of the Trilogy, but also locked people out of Rockstar's other games, like Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 5, GTA Online, so, you know, get screwed. But it's kind of funny why. All of this has happened because they made a mistake. The prevailing belief had been that they basically had a whole bunch of music that they didn't have the license for, that was still in the game files, but was merely disabled via a script. So while it wasn't accessible in-game, they technically did distribute things that they did not have the license to distribute. The PC version also did contain uncompiled code with a host of generally funny/embarrassing developer comments, and also hot coffee was still in there. Just for good measure. So all that was going on, and this prevailing belief does appear to be right, because when the Trilogy finally returned a full 3 days later, Rockstar confirmed it was taken offline to, quote, remove files unintentionally included. So that's definitely vague, but I think it pretty much does mean that people were on the money. They say they're sorry for the inconvenience, and they're working to improve and update the performance as they move forward. Now, of course, it's not really Rockstar. I mean, maybe it's some Rockstar support coming in to help here, perhaps, but of course this was being led by Grove Street Games. And, you know, people are kind of doing their best to cover for Grove Street, actually, because in many ways, they're really not that deserving of all of the bullshit that's been thrown their way. I don't say bullshit, I mean, people are right to be pissed off that, the thing they want hasn't been treated well, but for Grove Street, they could have just been put in a sort of an unwinnable scenario. Now, their CEO did try to be all cool. He said, it's so fun to see players out there really enjoying what we've put together for them. In fairness, I have seen a bunch of GIFs that I've really enjoyed. They've been very funny. That's not to be mean to him, though, because I don't really blame them. He said, in all honesty, enjoying this unparalleled level of scrutiny on our studio. Today, we are celebrating our monumental project launch while we work on updates, smiley face. So, look, there you go. Fair enough, because let's actually think about this situation, okay? They haven't been really around so much since. People are still very keen, though, to highlight some mitigating factors that they will have had to contend with, and I think this is super important. So, I mean, here's GTA News tweet. GTA Trilogy has been rushed because they delayed, expanded, and enhanced, which was due for release November 11th, yet was pushed back till next year, with the Trilogy taking its place. I can't help but feel that Rockstar have made Grove Street Games a scapegoat in this mess. People just saying, that they feel bad. They were clearly tasked with an ambitious project with only a team of 30 people. The corporates of Rockstar clearly couldn't be that nice enough to push the game back into 2022. All they had to do was announce it at the anniversary and then release in 2022, which is fair enough. So basically, it looks like they actually have 21 employees. That's what we could find out. But hey, 21 to 30 employees, and you've got to remaster the GTA Trilogy and rush it. Now, they are a port specialist. They have worked with Rockstar on a whole bunch of projects in the past, so they did have familiarity. I mean, look at this. Max Payne Mobile, which, the Max Payne Mobile port's pretty damn good. You can actually, Reykjavik?
Yeah, Reykjavik.
I always get confused between his name and then, of course, the city in Iceland.
Reykjavik, yeah.
Reykjavik, yeah. You can pair your controller. Actually, you can pair your controller to your phone. It works natively, and you can play, Vice City and all those things, on your iPad, and they actually work really well. So they did Max Payne, Vice City, San Andreas, Chinatown Wars, all of these. So they have done this before, but, this is clearly a bigger release. And, they've done some things that have came out on multiple consoles, but you can really see that it's Android iOS is really most of their credits for porting. So I think it's hard to blame them. It's a sort of thing, if you look through a whole bunch of this, they've pretty much done a great job in all of these. So what's changed? Well, I think size, scope, timeline.
Yep.
Now, about these issues not going away, GameSpot have compiled a neat collection of bugs and glitches. As Adam points out, would be funny if it wasn't so infuriating. Absolutely, it's probably one of those things. There's a lot of developers thinking, told you so, right now. Because that's the thing you have to remember. You see, when all of these shit shows happen, you usually do have a lot of developers who are saying, hey, we can't ship this. Hey, this isn't good. They get overruled. You never hear their voice, so everyone just thinks the whole company was happy to put out a load of shite. And it generally is not that case whatsoever. The developers almost always do, in fact, care a great deal.
I mean, I think, like, trying to think about this from GSG's perspective and Rockstar's, like, corporate perspective, it feels so awful, so vile that they're like, well, shit, we have to delay the game we care about, the new one. We have to delay that. It's not going to be ready in time. So, but there is a line of fire waiting out there. Who do we send to body block it? And that's basically what they've done. They're like, yep, sorry. Grove Street Games, is your game ready? No, it's not. Well, make it as ready as you possibly can, and then throw it out there to die. Why? Because we said we need this quarter revenue. And you're like, Jesus Christ, that's no way to run a company, I think.
Yeah, it sucks. It just sucks. And, it's the sort of thing I think publishers may be thinking, well, hey, we've done all the marketing. We've prepped all the campaigns. We have reached out to all of the press. We have done all the things. We've made all of our marketing activations.
Yeah.
So if there is a delay, then it does cost them a whole bunch of money. But you got to think long term, I think. And that's just what goes on.
Yeah, and it's not even like, I'm pretty sure this wasn't given a release date. This was changed at the last moment, I believe, because this wasn't like a public thing where there's tons of marketing around. It was kind of just shadow dropped. So it's not even like they had that excuse. It was literally, as far as someone who doesn't have insight into the actual company itself, it has to be for either the media like attention and presence around GTA given it's a holiday season, or it's the revenue. But it's corporate interests as opposed to player interests at this time of year. Like, it's impossible to avoid the fact that they had the expanded enhanced planned for the 11th, and then they threw this out instead. It's a case where they clearly didn't care what was happening. They're just like, fuck it, whatever. Just whatever makes the board people happy, even though this won't make them happy. But they clearly didn't care.
Bingo. That's how it is. Now, another thing, modders. Modders are great.
God bless them.
Yep. Some of the best crowd in all of gaming. Love modders. And they're coming to the rescue. At least one hope would be that this would provide a new basis for modding.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you look at what these people have been able to achieve with like GTA 4 or 5. I mean, it's incredible. So, despite the ever-looming threat of the DMCA takedown notices from Take-Two Interactive, the vibrant community of modders have begun work on this very scuffed Definitive Edition trilogy. Which is great. This is great. Now, of course, we did do a video. It's somewhere, there about the modding situation, which basically, corporate was coming down, hammering them. A lot of people being like, "Oh yeah, you've got the trilogy coming, and now you're taking down the modders of that trilogy. The original versions of that trilogy, which of course sucked." But yeah, they're now moving on to this in spite of all this looming legal stuff, which is definitely pretty cool to see. Now, we don't really have major updates, I think, on the legal situations, but I mean, this image says a lot, doesn't it? Would you like this demon hell rain, or would you like some rain that lets you play the game? This is legit a situation of CJ can't see, now he can see.
Yep.
Modder humongously has improved the game.
And let's not think about the fact that the rain rendered underneath actual bodies of water in the game.
Yeah.
That was certainly something.
Oh, that was quite something. Yeah, so it's just this thing. It's an overpriced, under-supported trilogy that itself was a culmination of an extensive campaign of threats, takedowns, and lawsuits against some of the most historic modding projects in the GTA community, like GTA Underground, GTA Liberty City, Vice City. They were all hit. Take-Two also went after the GTA 3 and Vice City reverse engineering project, RE3, which particularly does make sense because it made those playable on other platforms like the Nintendo Switch. So basically, like Rockstar's release, but, vastly cheaper. But yeah, all of those fan-made projects basically had to die because Take-Two, need to do this for $60. Now, look, if they had have If they had have done, let me friggin' tell you, a Resident Evil, if they had have done an RE remake, tier job in each one of those games, they probably could have just got maybe a 40, three $45 games, and people would have been so happy. But they didn't, though. They tried to do the minimum viable product, but it was too minimum to be viable, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's the part. You didn't even release an MVP. You didn't release a minimal viable product. You didn't release a product. You released something that didn't work. And I imagine you knew it didn't work because there's no way all of this was a surprise. It's like when it comes to games releasing and there's launch issues where, like, as an example, Ruined King came out and there's a really weird bug that was soft locking people in the tutorial. And that's the sort of thing where, you're not going to catch that because that was something to do with, like, Swedish language settings on PC or something. But you're not going to catch that. Or with server issues, you're not going to catch that because it's hard to replicate, full launch day, stats and network traffic. But when it comes to this, it's literally anyone at that company could have booted up, played for half an hour, and then went, why the fuck are we releasing this? What are we doing? What are we thinking? But clearly, anyone who did that didn't have the power to say, didn't have the big red button of cancel it.
And to move on with the modders then, so Take-Two's actions are ongoing. The operators of the add-ons the mods are saying that they do fall under fair use. Take-Two say they're entitled to 300 grand of damages because, of course, Take-Two needs that. But the developers are fighting those claims. Their challenge reads, any complaint of copyright protected material that did occur, if any, was undertaken to allow for interoperability of software and fixing bugs. Such actions comprising reverse engineering are a transformative use. And from Kotaku, the legal document goes on to point out that neither Take-Two nor Grand Theft Auto developers Rockstar Games have released patches or bug fixes for the original decades-old games in question, GTA 3 and Vice City, in years. In fact, neither game is even purchasable through legitimate means after having pulled from the publisher's store and third-party ones as well to make way for the definitive editions. So, look, legal...
Yep, I just remembered something.
It's flying in with a point.
Yeah, because there's a recent thing in the European Union where the Court of Justice of the European Union allows reverse engineering in order to correct errors, which seems to be the angle they're going for here.
Yeah.
And I don't know where this case is taking place because I don't know who these modders are, but that's a case of, like, I was confused why they're going for that angle as opposed to the reverse engineering has nothing to do with copyright. We're literally just rebuilding a game that's like yours. You can't copyright that stuff. But I think if they're actually going for this angle, this might even be better. Hopefully, we'll need to see, because obviously just legal fees can completely destroy a situation, and Take-Two could just bully them out of court, or whatever else, or do whatever they need to do. But I'd love to see this to go forward and continue this route, because this could be actually, Take-Two trying to be too greedy could actually set a great precedent for us all, I hope.
Could do, and it's that thing, I think, ultimately we can talk about, the rights and the wrongs. I think for a customer, though, it's like a bunch of great add-on makers, modders, making really cool shit, saving old projects.
Yeah.
I mean, if Microsoft came in and said, hey there, abandonware.net, you're not allowed to host Freelancer anymore. Hey, Freelancer mod projects, fuck you. Yep. It's like, at that stage, as somebody who loves that game, honestly, I don't give a flying fuck. All I basically want as a customer is Freelancer.
Yep.
So that's why I'm happy to engage in abandonware. Just download the thing, download a patch, game is fixed. I mean, I feel okay. I bought a copy of Freelancer in the past. I'm sure most of the people involved in any of this probably did buy their copies of those Grand Theft Auto games in the past. And yeah, okay, you're downloading a different version that isn't the one that you paid for, blah, blah, blah. But, there's the legal point, but you do have to then just live in the reality of we're all emotional beings. There's the things we actually want, and it's like, well, you just want your Grand Theft Auto, don't you? Yep. So there you go. Look, I'll say good luck to the modders, and also good luck to the poor bastards who've been a bit thrown under the bus, who deserve better, and hopefully they are afforded the time and resources to make the project right.
I mean, if that's not what happens, if this doesn't become a story of, yeah, we really fucked up, sorry, we'll fix it, then no one should have any respect for Rockstar as a business, or maybe even Take-Two overall for anything they're doing.
Yeah. So look, that's pretty much that. Hopefully we all get what we want at the end of this. And for me and Matt, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.